Her name was Rose. She lived in a small house, on the bad side of town, where dreams go to die. She had a scar. It ran down her left cheek, from her eye to her chin, like a river of pain that never stopped flowing. Omar hated that scar. "You ugly thing," she would yell. "No man will want you." Her pa was worse. He just looked away, like she was not there, like she never existed. But Rose remembered the truth. The fire happened when she was 8. Her baby sister was trapped in the burning kitchen. Rose ran inside, through the flames. She saved little Mary, but the fire marked her forever. Did anyone care? No. They only saw the scar, never the brave heart, never the loving soul, just damaged goods. Tonight was the worst night yet. Ma stumbled home drunk. Again. Her breath smelled like cheap wine and broken promises. "You shame our family," she screamed. She threw her cup. Rose ducked fast. It crashed against the wall, broke into pieces, like Rose's heart. "Get out of my sight." May's voice was poison. "I can't stand looking at you." P sat in his chair, drinking more wine. He never helped, never cared, just watched the pain. Rose ran to her room. It was tiny, cold, but it was hers. She cried into her thin pillow. "Why am I so ugly?" she whispered. "Why can't they love me?" Then came the knock, hard and loud, at their front door. A fancy man stood outside. He wore fine clothes, held a letter with a seal. "The Duke needs a maid," he said. His voice was proper, clean, someone young, someone invisible. Maya's eyes lit up, like she saw gold. "Take our Rose," she said too fast. "No one wants her here anyway." She grabbed Rose's arm, tight enough to bruise. "Pack your things, now." Rose's hands shook. Was this rescue, or just different prison? She owned so little. One brown dress, patched and worn. One small comb. Her ma's old Bible, that was all. Everything she had, in one tiny bag. The black carriage waited, like a hungry beast. Rose looked back once. At the only home she knew. Mummy slammed the door. No goodbye, no hug, no tears, just relief that the ugly daughter was gone. Rose climbed inside. The seat was cold, hard, like her family's hearts. The horses started moving, clip-clop, clip-clop. Each step took her further, from everything she knew, towards something unknown. She pressed her face to the window, watched her old life disappear. "Maybe," she whispered to herself, "maybe this is better. It has to be. It can't be worse." But deep down, she was scared, so very scared. His name was James Henry William Drake, the 4th Duke of Ashford, but the servants called him something else. When they thought he couldn't hear, they called him Ghost. He moved through his castle, silent as shadows, quick as wind, always watching, always listening. Because trust was dangerous. In his world, trust could kill. James was only 25, but his eyes looked older, much older, like they had seen too much pain, too much death, too much betrayal. His father died last winter. Poison in his wine. The doctor was sure. Someone close did it. Someone inside these walls. Someone James trusted. But who? That's why he needed help. Someone invisible. Someone no one would notice. Someone who could watch and listen and report back to him. The scarred girl was perfect. People looked away from damaged things. She could move through his house like she wasn't there. Perfect spy, perfect eyes and ears. But James felt guilty. Using broken people felt wrong. His heart said no, but his mind said yes. He needed justice for his father, for his people. Sometimes doing right meant doing wrong first. He stood at his window, watching the black carriage arrive. It stopped by the kitchen door, like all servant carriages did. He saw her step down, slow and careful, like a hurt bird, learning to fly. Her head stayed down, shoulders curved inward. She tried to make herself smaller, invisible. It broke his heart. What had life done to her? What pain did she carry? But he saw something else, in the quick glimpse of her eyes. Fire, hidden deep, but still burning. She was stronger than she looked. He felt it, knew it. Like recognizing. James had his own scars, not on his face, but on his soul, from losing his mother young, from never being good enough for his cold father, from always being alone, in rooms full of people. Maybe, just maybe, they could help each other, the broken duke and the scarred girl, two damaged souls. In a dangerous world, he turned from the window. Time to meet his new spy. Time to see if she was brave enough for what came next. Rose stood in the great hall, her bag clutched tight against her chest, like armor. The ceiling was so high she couldn't see the top. Everything was gold and marble, too rich, too grand. She felt like dirt in a palace of jewels. Footsteps echoed, slow and steady, down the grand staircase. She kept her head down, stared at her worn shoes, tried to disappear into the floor, into nothing. "Hello, Rose." The voice was gentle, warm honey over fresh bread. She peeked up, just a little, then looked down fast. The scar burned, hot with shame. He was tall, dark hair, blue eyes like summer sky, handsome in a quiet way, not flashy, just real and kind, too kind for someone like her. "You will work here," he said. His voice stayed soft, never harsh. "In the kitchen first. Cook, May will teach you. Then, other tasks, when you're ready." She nodded once, words stuck in her throat, like thick honey. He wasn't staring at her scar, at her ugliness. He looked in her eyes, like she mattered, like she was human. "Are you hungry?" he asked. She shook her head fast, lied. Her stomach was empty, had been empty for 2 days, but asking felt wrong. Taking felt selfish. Her stomach growled, loud and long. In the quiet hall, he smiled, small but real. "Cook makes excellent stew," he said, "and fresh bread. Come, let me show you." They walked together, not close, but not far, side by side, like equals. She snuck glances at his profile, his hands, the way he moved, smooth and careful, like he didn't want to scare her. The kitchen was heaven, warm and bright. Smells of baking bread, roasting meat, fresh herbs. Her mouth watered, her heart lifted, just a little. "Cook, May," the Duke called. "This is Rose. She'll be helping you. Please take good care of her." A round woman turned, flower on her apron, smile on her face. "Welcome, dear child," she said. Her voice was motherly, soft like pillows. "You look half-starved. Sit, eat. We'll talk after." The Duke left them, but his presence stayed like warmth from a fire. After the flames died down, Rose touched her cheek, where the scar lived. For the first time, it didn't hurt so much. "He's a good man," Cookmay said, reading her thoughts. "Kinder than most nobles. You're safe here, child. I promise you that." Rose nodded, but trust was hard. When life breaks you over and over, hope becomes dangerous. But maybe, just maybe, this place was different. Morning came before dawn. Rose woke to bells, calling servants to work. She dressed quick, in the dark. Her hands knew the way of her one dress, her worn shoes, her simple life. The kitchen was already busy. Cookmay stood by the fire, stirring porridge, checking bread. "Good morning, Rose," she called, ready to learn. Rose nodded eager. She wanted to help, to be useful, to earn her place. Here in this warm room, away from cold hearts and cruel words. "First we make bread," Cookmay said. "Every day, for the whole house. Watch close now." Her hands were magic, mixing flour and water, salt and yeast, into something alive, something growing. Rose watched careful, learned fast. Her scarred hands followed, the same motions, knead and fold, push and turn. The dough felt good, under her fingers, warm and alive, like hope. "You have good hands," Cookmay said. "Strong hands, gentle too. That's a gift, child. Don't let anyone tell you different." Rose felt something strange in her chest. Was it pride? She hadn't felt that in so long. Her hands were good. For something. For making food. For helping others. The Duke came by every morning. Just a quick visit. "Good morning, Cookmay." "Good morning, Rose." Always polite, always kind, never staring at her face, at her scar, at her shame. "Your Grace," Cookmay would say. "Rose made these rolls, fresh this morning. Try one. Tell me what you think." He would take a bite, chew thoughtful, then smile. "Excellent," he would say, looking right at Rose. "You have real talent. Keep learning." Rose would blush, look down, but inside, warmth spread, like sunrise, after long darkness. He saw her work, her effort, not just her ugliness. Days passed like this, learning and growing. Her hands got stronger, her bread got better, her confidence grew, just a little, like a tiny flower in rocky soil. One morning was different. The Duke stayed longer. "Rose," he said, "can you read?" She shook her head, ashamed. "Never learned, Your Grace. Would you like to?" His eyes were gentle, full of hope. "I could teach you. Letters first, then words, then stories." Her heart jumped. Reading was for rich people, smart people, not scarred girls from poor families. "Could I really?" she whispered. "Of course," he said. "Everyone deserves to read, to learn, to grow. Meet me in the library after your kitchen work, if you want." Rose nodded fast, too fast, like a hungry bird, seeing breadcrumbs. "Yes, Your Grace. Please, I want to learn." He smiled wide then, the first real smile she'd seen from him. It changed his whole face, made him look younger, happier. "Good," he said. "We'll start today." After he left, Rose touched her scar. For the first time ever, it felt like decoration, not damage, like part of her story, not the end of it. Cookmay watched with knowing eyes. That man, she said soft. He sees people's hearts, not their faces. Remember that, child. Rose would remember everything about this morning, the way he looked at her, like she mattered, like she could learn, like she could grow into something more than just the scarred girl, into someone real. The library was huge. Books from floor to ceiling, more books than Rose knew existed. In the whole world, she stood in the doorway, afraid to enter, afraid to touch anything. So beautiful, so perfect. Come in, the Duke called. He sat at a small table by the window. Sunlight fell across. Open books, clean paper, sharp quills. Don't be afraid. Books are for reading, not just looking at. Rose stepped careful across thick carpet. Her worn shoes made no sound. She sat across from him, hands folded tight in her lap, like praying position. We'll start simple, he said. His voice was patient. Teacher, soft. This is A. This is B. Each letter has a sound. Put sounds together. Make words. Rose watched his hands as he wrote letters, big and clear, on white paper. Her scarred fingers traced the shapes in air, learning the curves, the straight lines, the magic marks that held meaning. Your turn, he said. Put the quill in her hand. Try making A. Her hand shook. The quill felt strange, heavy and light. At the same time, she pressed down, too hard. Ink bloomed wide across the paper. Softer, he said. His hand covered hers, gentle and warm, like touching flower petals, light and careful. Rose felt fire, where his skin touched her skin. Not burning fire, but warm fire, safe fire, like sitting by a cozy hearth on winter nights. Together they made F, then B, then C. His hand guiding, her hand learning, letter by letter, sound by sound, like building something beautiful and strong. Why are you kind to me? She asked. The question slipped out before she could stop it. Her cheeks burned red. I'm sorry, Your Grace. I shouldn't ask. He was quiet. Long moment. Looking out the window at gardens beyond. You remind me of someone, he said finally. My sister, she died young. She had differences too. People were cruel. I couldn't protect her then. Maybe I can help you now. Rose felt tears coming, hot and sudden. I'm sorry, she whispered. About your sister. She would have liked you, he said. Smiled sad and sweet. She loved learning too. Loved books and stories. Would have been your friend. They worked until sunset. Letters became words. Words became sentences. Rose wrote her name. For the first time ever. R-O-S-E. 4 simple letters that meant everything. Tomorrow, he said, we'll read a story about a girl who thought she was nothing, but became everything. Would you like that? Rose nodded. Words stuck again in her happy throat. She was learning to read. Someone believed in her. Someone saw worth in the scarred girl who saved her sister, who baked good bread, who could learn and grow and become. As she walked back to the servants' quarters, Rose felt different, taller somehow, stronger, like the scar didn't own her anymore, like she owned it instead. Tomorrow would bring new lessons, new words, new hope. For the first time in her whole life, Rose looked forward to tomorrow. 3 weeks passed, like golden days in a fairy tale. Rose learned letters fast, then words, then simple sentences. The Duke was patient, always kind, never angry. When she made mistakes, or spilled ink, or forgot sounds. But Rose noticed things, because servants see everything. The way the Duke looked, over his shoulder, in empty halls. The way he tested his food before eating. The way certain people made him tense. "Cook me," Rose said one morning, while kneading dough. "Why does His Grace seem so worried? So careful?" Cook May looked around, made sure they were alone. "His father died sudden," she whispered. "Some say poison, some say murder. The Duke knows someone in this house wanted his family dead." Rose's hands stopped working. Murder? Here in this safe place, this warm kitchen, this kind home, who would do that? She whispered back. "Could be anyone," Cook May said, sad and scared. "The head butler, the stable master, even Lord Marcus. The Duke's own cousin. He gets everything. If something happens to our Duke..." Rose felt cold, deep in her bones. The Duke was in danger. Every day, every meal, every moment, and he was teaching her to read and write. Like nothing was wrong, like death wasn't hunting. In these beautiful halls, that night, Rose couldn't sleep. She thought about the Duke's kind eyes, his patient hands, his gentle voice. Someone wanted him dead. Someone he trusted. Someone close. She made a decision. Dangerous and brave. She would help him, however she could. Her scar made her invisible. People looked away from damaged things. She could watch. She could listen. She could learn. The next morning, during their lesson, Rose spoke up. "Your Grace," she said, voice shaking, but determined. "I know about the danger. I want to help." He stopped writing, looked at her sharp. "Rose, what do you mean?" "Cook May told me about your father, about the poison. I can watch people. Nobody sees me because of this." She touched her scar. "I can be your eyes, in places you can't go." The Duke was quiet. Long time. Then he sighed deep. "It's dangerous, Rose. If they know you're watching, they might hurt you. I couldn't bear that." "I'm already hurt," Rose said. Simple and true. "Been hurt all my life, but you showed me kindness, taught me to read, made me feel human. I owe you everything." He reached across, touched her hand. Light and brief. "You owe me nothing. But if you really want to help, there are things I need to know." Conversations in hallways, letters being passed, people acting strange. Rose nodded firm. "I'll watch. I'll listen. I'll help you find who killed your father." From that day forward, Rose had 2 jobs, learning to read and learning to spy. Both felt important. Both felt right. Both felt like finally having purpose. In her scarred life, the Duke was in danger, but Rose would protect him, however she could, with whatever she had, even if it was just damaged eyes and a listening heart. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Rose grew stronger, smarter, braver. Her reading improved. Her baking too. But most of all, her confidence bloomed. Like flowers in spring. The Duke noticed everything. "You stand taller now," he said. "During one lesson, you speak clearer. You smile more. You're becoming yourself. Rose felt warm at his words, but also confused. What do you mean, becoming myself? The person you were before the world told you you were broken. Before people made you believe you were less. You're remembering who Rose really is. She looked down at her scarred hands, now confident, on paper and pen. Sometimes I forget about the scar. When I'm here with you, learning things, I feel normal. You are normal, he said, firm and sure. You're extraordinary. You saved your sister. You learnt to read. In just months, you help everyone in this house. You have the biggest heart I've ever known. Rose felt tears. Happy ones this time. Your Grace, why are you so kind to me? He was quiet, looking out the window at autumn leaves falling like gold coins. Because, he said soft, somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing the scarred maid and started seeing just Rose. The woman who makes my days brighter, my heart lighter. Rose's breath caught in her throat. Did he mean, could he possibly? Your Grace, she whispered. James, he said. My name is James. When we're alone, like this, just James. James, she repeated. The name felt precious on her tongue, like honey, like music, like prayer. They sat closer now, during lessons, hands touching, when he helped her write difficult words, eyes meeting, when she asked questions, hearts beating in the same rhythm. But Rose was scared of hoping too much, of dreaming too big. Dukes didn't love scarred servants, even kind ones, even lonely ones. That was fairy tale thinking, and life wasn't a fairy tale. But sometimes, when James looked at her, like she was beautiful, like her scar was just another feature, like freckles or dimples, sometimes Rose dared to imagine. What if someone could love her, scar and all? What if that someone was sitting right here, teaching her words, like forever and always and love? What if fairy tales could sometimes come true? Bam! Rose discovered the truth. On a cold November night, she was bringing tea to the Duke's study, when she heard voices, angry and low, through the partly open door. You've had enough time, a man said, voice like gravel. The Duke must die before he finds out about the money, about father's real killer. Rose pressed closer to the door crack, heart pounding loud, like thunder. She recognized the voice. Lord Marcus, the Duke's cousin, the one who would inherit everything. But how? Another voice asked, nervous and shaky. He tests his food. He trusts no one. He's too careful now. The girl, Lord Marcus said, cold and cruel. The scarred one, he trusts her. She could slip poison into his tea, into his food. No one would suspect. The grateful servant. Rose felt sick. They wanted to use her to kill James. The only person who ever showed her kindness, who ever saw her worth, who ever made her feel human. She won't do it, the nervous voice said. She's loyal to him. Lord Marcus laughed, evil and sharp. Then we make her threaten the kitchen woman, the one she loves. Like a mother, she'll do anything to protect her. Rose backed away from the door, hands shaking, mind racing. She had to warn James, had to tell him about his cousin's plan. about the danger, coming so close. She ran through halls, quiet as a mouse, heart loud as drums. Found James in library, reading by candlelight, looking peaceful and safe. For now, James, she whispered, urgent and scared. I heard them, Lord Marcus, and someone else. They want to kill you. They want to use me to do it. James looked up sharp. What did you hear? Tell me everything, Rose told him. Every word, every threat, every cruel plan. James listened careful, face growing dark, like storm clouds, gathering power. They're right about one thing, he said finally. I do trust you, completely. But Rose, they'll try to force you, hurt people you care about, to make you help them. I won't, Rose said, fierce and sure. I'd die first, before I'd hurt you. James stood up, came to her, took her hands, in his warm ones. I know you wouldn't, but Rose, I think it's time. You knew the whole truth about why I really need your help. He led her to a hidden panel behind the bookshelf, opened it careful. Inside were papers, documents, evidence. My father wasn't just poisoned, he said. He was robbed too. Marcus has been stealing from our people, our lands, our future. Rose looked at papers, covered in numbers, in James's neat writing. How long have you known? She asked. Months, James said. But I needed proof, real evidence, that would stand up in court. Marcus is clever, careful, but not careful enough. What do we do now? Rose asked. James smiled, but it wasn't happy. It was determined, like a soldier before battle. Now, my dear Rose, we set a trap, using the one thing Marcus wants most. What's that? Rose asked. Me, James said. Dead. The plan was dangerous, but simple. Rose would pretend to agree with Marcus, would act scared and threatened, would promise to poison James' evening tea. But the poison would be fake. Just bitter herbs that tasted bad but did no harm. James would pretend to drink it, then collapse, like dying, while Rose screamed for help. Marcus would come running, happy to see his cousin dying, would probably confess his crimes in his excitement. Other servants would witness everything he said, perfect evidence. For the magistrate. Are you sure? James asked. For the 10th time. If Marcus suspects, if he realizes the poison is fake, he might hurt you, really hurt you. Rose touched her scar, the mark that made her invisible to most, but visible to James. This scar, she said, came from saving someone I loved. I'm not afraid to risk it again. James cupped her face, gentle and warm. His thumb traced her scar line, like it was precious, like it was beautiful. You're the bravest person I've ever known, he whispered. And you're the kindest, Rose whispered back. The only person who ever saw me, really saw me. Not just the damage. They were close now, closer than ever. His eyes looked deep into her soul. Rose, he said, voice rough with feeling. When this is over, when we're safe, I need to tell you something important. What? She asked, heart racing. I love you, he said, simple and true, scar and all, heart and soul. I love you. Rose felt tears, happy and scared at the same time. But I'm just a servant, a damaged girl. You're a duke. You're Rose, he said, firm and sure. The woman who saved her sister, who learned to read, who chose to help me when you could have stayed safe, who makes every day worth living. He kissed her then, soft and sweet, like promise, like forever, like love. Rose felt her heart break open, in the best way. All the walls, all the fear, all the shame, crashing down. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. After tonight, James said, we'll be free to love each other, openly, honestly. If you want that, I want that, Rose said. More than anything, but first, we have to survive. The next few hours, James nodded, serious again. Cook May knows the plan. She'll have witnesses ready in the hallway. When Marcus comes, everything depends on perfect timing. Rose took a deep breath. Then, let's begin, she said. Let's end this. Tonight. The trap was set. The players ready. Soon they would know if love could triumph over greed and murder, if truth could win over lies and poison, if a scarred girl and a lonely duke could find their way to happiness together. Lo, evening came dark and cold. Rose prepared the tea with shaking hands. Her heart beat so loud, she was sure everyone could hear it. The bitter herbs smelled like medicine, like hope, like justice. She climbed the stairs to James's study. Each step felt heavy, like walking through water or walking toward her future or her doom. Both felt possible. James sat at his desk, writing letters. By candlelight, he looked up when she entered. Their eyes met, full of love and fear and determination. Your tea, your grace, Rose said, voice steady. Despite her nerves, she set the cup on his desk, hands not shaking. Not anymore. Thank you, Rose, James said, formal and polite, in case anyone was listening. But his eyes said, I love you. Be brave. She left the room, but stayed close, in the hallway, listening, waiting, praying. To whoever listens, to servants' prayers. Minutes passed, like hours. Then she heard it, the cup hitting the floor, James crying out in fake pain, collapsing with a thud. Rose screamed, high and scared. Help, someone help. The Duke is dying. Footsteps came running from all directions. Cook May arrived first, then other servants, all witnesses, all loyal to James, all ready for what came next. Lord Marcus appeared, moving fast, but not fast enough to hide his smile, the cruel, satisfied look of a man getting what he wanted. What happened? He demanded. But his voice held. No real worry, no real surprise. I don't know, Rose cried, acting terrified, acting helpless. He drank his tea, then collapsed. Oh God, is he dead? Marcus knelt down beside James's still body, checked for breathing, for heartbeat. James played dead, perfect and still, like a real corpse. Yes, Marcus said, too happy, too quick. He's gone. Poor cousin. I suppose I'm Duke now. How can you be so calm? Cook May asked, suspicious and sharp. Your cousin just died. Don't you care? Marcus stood up, brushed off his clothes. Of course I care, he said, but still smiling. I'm just proud. practical. Death comes to everyone, even dukes. That's when he made his mistake. The fatal error that ended everything. Besides, Marcus said, looking right at Rose, some deaths are necessary for the greater good. My cousin was getting too close to certain truths about money, about father's death, about who really rules this land. The servants gasped, horror and shock at his confession. His admission of murder, of theft, of evil. You killed him? Rose whispered. Perfect acting, perfect shock. I had him killed, Marcus corrected. Proud and stupid. Just like I killed his father. Just like I planned to kill him all along. That's when James sat up, very much alive, very much angry. Thank you, cousin, he said, cold and final, for making this so easy. Marcus's face went white, then red, then white again. But you drank the poison. You're dead. Bitter herbs, James said, standing tall and strong, and very much not dead. Rose never intended to hurt me. She loves me, and I love her. Something you wouldn't understand. Marcus looked around at all the witnesses, at all the servants, who heard everything, who saw everything, who knew the truth. Gods, James called, his voice echoing through the halls. Arrest Lord Marcus for the murder of my father, for attempted murder of myself, for theft and treason. Armed men appeared from hidden places where they'd been waiting, ready for this moment, this justice, this ending. As they dragged Marcus away, screaming denials and curses and threats, James turned to Rose, pulled her close against his chest, where she belonged. It's over, he whispered, into her hair. We're safe now, free now, together now. Rose looked up at the man she loved, the man who saved her from ugliness, from shame, from thinking she was nothing. What happens now? She asked. James smiled, real and bright, like sunshine after storms. Now, my darling Rose, we live, we love, we heal together. And in that moment, in that perfect, beautiful moment, Rose knew her fairy tale was just beginning. 1 year later, Rose stood in her garden, her own garden, behind the Duke's house. That was now her house too, the Duchess's garden, full of roses, of every color, red and pink, white and yellow, like rainbow, of hope. Her scar was still there, would always be there, but now it felt like decoration, not damage, like part of her story, the brave part, the loving part, the part that saved her sister, her Duke, herself. James found her there, among the flowers, as he did every morning. Good morning, Your Grace, he said, teasing and fond, still amazed that she was his, that he was hers. Good morning, Your Grace, Rose said back, laughing soft at their game of titles and love and joy. They were married now, in the big church, with all the town watching. Rose wore white silk, and her scar proudly, like badges of honor, of survival, of love. The people came to love her. The scarred Duchess who helped the poor, who fed the hungry, who remembered what it felt like to be invisible, to be nothing, and made sure no one else ever felt that way. James worked too, fixing the damage Marcus had done, returning stolen money to the people who needed it, building schools and hospitals and hope. In the evenings, they still read together. In the library, Rose's reading was perfect now. She read stories to the children who came to visit. Stories about brave girls and kind boys and love winning over everything else. "Do you ever regret," James asked one night, "leaving your family, your old life, for this?" Rose looked around at their beautiful home, their happy life, their love, so deep, so real, so lasting. "Never," she said, sure and strong. "That wasn't life. This is life. This is love. This is everything." He kissed her then, like he did every day, every night, like she was precious, like she was beautiful, like her scar was just another way to love her. And Rose knew, in her heart, in her soul, that little girl who saved her sister, who lived with cruel words and crueler hearts, that girl became this woman, this duchess, this wife, this beloved. The scar was still there, but now it told a different story. Not one of damage, but one of courage. Not one of shame, but one of love. Not one of ending, but one of beginning. In her garden, full of roses, the scarred girl found her happy ending, her true love, her real life. And they lived in joy, in love, in peace, forever and always, together.